So I felt guilty. I feel hi. All right. So hi, welcome to this video. So thank you so much for clicking and choosing to spend time with me. So I'm welcoming you here with this puffy round mochi cheeks of mine. I don't know what happened, but it feels like I'm very bloated right now, and I believe it's something to do with the weather. Feels cold these days, and I find it hard to survive when there's cold days because I'm a bear. I basically classify myself as a bear, so whenever it's cold, I feel like I would like to hibernate every time. So yes, again, welcome back to this video. Thank you so much for clicking. Last time I did a sit-down vlog with a manhwa titled Ellen's Sowa. If you ever read that manhwa because of my recommendation. So please give out a comment and tell me if you did liked it the way I did, because I feel like I have never found another manhwa like that before, or even now that I'm searching for something more to read. Like I have never found something like Ellen Soa. But anyways, so we are back in the Sitel vlog with another manhwa. Okay, so the last video that I did, I was just partly I don't know. I was kind of kidding, and I felt guilty. I felt guilty, right? With the tons of support that I have been receiving, and thank you so much because you know me, if you're my friend, okay, so I'm not the best person there is, and I'm actually have lots of goals in mind, but sometimes I feel like it's not worth trying. So whenever I see people supporting me, giving me the attention that I seek, well, that's kind of fulfilling for my heart. So again, thank you so much for those who have supported or showed me some support with my previous video. I'm not gonna mention you all here, but you know who you are. For this afternoon's manhwa, I would like to start with a question. Have you ever tasted something that the taste remains, even if it's been a while or time had passed already that you have last tasted it? Something like wine, right? Something that gives you an aftertaste. This manhwa is based on a light novel, a Korean light novel, and its title in Korean, let me just give you some notes here. All right, so the title in Korean for this light novel is Otun Yunim o Marchen. I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, so let me just put it in the description box or maybe just put it here. Okay, so it's up to you how to read it, but that's how I read it. So when you read this manhwa, it feels like you're drinking wine. Okay, because this is a story, and a very unconventional story, might be a little troublesome in the beginning, all right? Because this is a story of a 17-year-old girl whose name was Shuli, and she was married to a Marquess that is actually a lot of years older than her. Alright, so very Bridgerton-like, alright, that they're going to have first their debut in the society, in social gatherings. So this girl is from the countryside, Shuli, and she has not yet been into her coming of age ceremony. She has not yet debuted, is that right? Debuted on the society, or she has not yet been recognized as a woman. She's still a girl, but her family sold her off to a Marquess. Okay, luckily, I can't say that it's lucky because it's still human trafficking, you know. But you know, in this kind of fictional stories, they don't actually like deal with that matter because it happened in a different setting. It's in isekai or in another world. Okay, so lucky for her because the Marquess who actually bought her or who married her is not a bad guy. He is not the bad guy of the story. Actually, he was one of the biggest supporter of Shuli. Right? It's just that you know, speaking in terms of moral, it's incorrect to buy someone and marry them, of course. All right. Again, so this is a beautiful story because we get to see a feminine female lead that is not acting in feminine, or if you get what I'm saying, that they're not acting brusque, or then they're not acting rough, right? They're not the tomboy type of female lead that is powerful because they're a tomboy. She is powerful because she is feminine and motherly. Alright, so imagine yourself being at Shuli's place. You're taken into a home, and that house is actually like the most powerful family aside from the imperial family. So if there's imperial family, then that family is the next to that power. So you were taken into that house. You were asked to be the marchioness, because that's how they pair it, like marquess, marchioness. So you have to act as the marchioness of the family. Take care of the four kids that is not from you, and almost all of I mean, the eldest is almost with the same age as you, around 15, and you're just 16, just days away or months away from being 17. So imagine the responsibility that Shuli has to um, take, or Shuli has to like um, go grow up on. Okay, it's like a force growing up. So that's how big everything is. All right, so she is powerful. She's a powerful female lead, not because she's a tomboy, not because she goes to everyone swinging swords, but her mindset. Her mindset makes her powerful, and I guess that's why, even if the manhwa is actually like slow paced, right? It's not the manhwa that's very aggressive, like they get to finish everything in one setting or in one panel. It's not like that, or they get to solve all the problems in one setting or one scene. It's not like that. It's actually like um the details of the problems are very minimal, and very like not necessarily like problem boom. Not the type like big problem already. It's like minimal problems that is about the kids, like say for example adjustment with her being their stepmother, the adjustment of the kids towards her, like how did she end up making her kids love her, and how did she end up showing the society that she's not just a small time girl or a small town girl, or she's not just a countryside girl, even if they're just saying that, oh, she's very young for being a marchioness. All right, so it's that. I mean, her mindset makes the story interesting. Honestly, I did not finish reading this manhwa in one sitting. Right, I took time in reading this one. Like it was stored in my I have the copy of this manhwa for almost 3 weeks before I completed reading it, because it's not the type of manhwa that you're agitated to know what's going next, because you trust Suli, because some of the translators actually put in Shuri, sometimes it's Shuli, right? So it's in between that, but I'm going to call her Shuli, right? So it's because Shuli, you trust her, like you're putting all the bets on her when there's a problem. Okay, so you get to put your bets on her that she's going to like resolve everything according to what's best. Okay, alright, so that's just the kind of female character that we have here, because of course, woman power, we are on for women empowerment. So most of the time that I will be reviewing everything will be focused on the female character, because that's what Asikai and Josei are more of. Like they focus on the female character. But anyways, I'm going to talk about genre in another vlog, but let's just continue with the summary. Now, this is a part of this video, this sit down vlog, that I'm going to warn you again that I'm going to be spoiling some parts or details from Manhwa. So, if you are planning to read the Stepmother's Marchen according to your own will, according to your own pace, and you would not like me to spoil you, you are free to go. Alright, but I'm telling you because I'm putting this in my vlog, I'm making an effort to recommend this one. I'm not paid for it, okay? So I'm just doing this according to my own favor, and I'm doing this because I'm happy doing it, and I'm happy to receive comments. So if you do love this vlog, don't forget to click subscribe, put the notification bell on so that you'll get notified when I have another vlogs. But anyway, so you can put in the comments, alright? So you can tell me your support. Okay, so that would feed my ego and maybe do another vlog. So I'm just being honest here. So that's my point of doing this one. So I'm not paid for this. I'm just doing this for according to my own accord. Anyways, I'm just doing this according to my own will. And I'm very happy if you do appreciate it. So thank you so much for appreciating. Now let's go to the part where I'm going to give you a summary. Okay. I'm actually still not sure of how my summary is really a summary to you, but basically this is just what I've read. Okay? And forgive me if there are parts of the summary that actually takes you out of the road because that's just how you talk. Like say when I do have my colleague before. So this is a story time, but I do have my colleague before. I'm going to call her Sir Michael, of course. Hi Sir Michael. All right. So he told me one time that sometimes it's hard to talk to me because basically I'm from this topic, then I'll go to another topic, and then the topic will branch out and branch out, and then we're lost. Okay, so I'm that type of talker. Like I'm that kind of talker. So forgive me if I also do that in my sit down vlogs. But anyway, so here it is. Here is this summary. So we start the manhwa with a fairy tale, which is very important, I believe, when it comes to the consistency of the title and the story. Okay, so this girl has a fairy tale, or I don't know, it was not clear if it's like she read it, she heard it, but it starts with her fairy tale that she would be going to the marketplace, okay? Or she would earn something, go to the marketplace, buy a chicken, and that chicken would lay an egg, and that egg would then she would sell that chicken's egg, and that the money she would make it like she would buy some more like livestock, another cow, until her money would grow into a full-blown business of livestock. That's our fairy tale, which is not very fairy tale like. Alright, because when we say fairy tale, it's like a prince in a tower and somebody saves her. Alright, so a princess in a tower and somebody saves her, like that. So it's not like that. Her fairy tale is not like that. Her fairy tale is too realistic to be like a daydream. Okay, too realistic for a setting that they're actually in a setting where there are prince and princesses existing, but her fairy tale is about a livestock and a business on livestock. Okay, so how can I say that it's a fairy tale when it doesn't sound like a fairy tale? Yes, but it starts with a once upon a time, there was this little girl. Alright, so like that. So that's how it is. So that's how it started. And after that fairy tale part, we get to go to the present time or this Mother Shuli. Okay, let's just call her Mother Shuli because this is the first timeline. There are two timelines in this manhwa. Okay, because this is isekai, of course. That's very obvious. When there's isekai in the tag, it's like another timeline, another world, reincarnation, going back to the past. Okay, so on the first timeline, this Mother Shuli is meeting the soon-to-be wife of the eldest son of the Noshwashstein family. Forgive me if I'm speaking it wrong or if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Okay, so she meets the soon-to-be wife of Noshwashstein family, or the soon-to-be wife of the eldest, Jeremy. Okay, the name of the eldest son of that family, from her to whom she has been sold off to, is Jeremy. Okay, so she meets with O'Hara. That's her name, O'Hara, and then she expected that this girl would give her the good news about Jeremy's wedding, which she actually spent months on preparing for. Alright, because in her mind she's remembering like the rules that if Jeremy would marry, then the whole responsibility being the head of the family of the Neuschwanstein castle will then be transferred to him since he is already married. And automatically, since he is the Marquess of the house, the wife would be the Marchioness, and Shuli would be free from those responsibilities. Because unlike the fairy tales that we read, this setting in Manhwas, the noble families have their own responsibilities, and most of them cannot go against the imperial family. So for Shuli, it's very, very opposite to what she dreams of about. Imagine a girl just imagining herself in like growing a livestock, selling livestock, not about being in a castle or being with a prince. She's a very simple girl and she has a very simple mind. She wants to be free, she wants to live simply. So she also is waiting for that day when Jeremy would already marry, and so that all the responsibility, all the power of the Neuschwanstein castle will be transferred to him and to his wife. Alright, so that's what she expects, and she's excited for this day to come, for the wedding to come. But O'Hara says that Jeremy does not want to see her in the wedding. Alright, so she tells Shuli that Jeremy actually does not want her to come. I don't know, but that's what she said. And before she go out, or before she went out of the castle, she actually left the words like, I know you already know why this is happening. Right? So like that's like foreshadowing. So by then I actually like looked at the face, because that's how I read. Like whenever I read lines that are very important, I look at the face, how they are drawn, what's the emotion being drawn. Alright, so and I think that Shuli does really know what's the reason why Jeremy does not want her in the wedding. Okay, so we get to see O'Hara leave the castle, and then the servants come in, and the news broke that Jeremy does not want to see her in the wedding. So that makes them sad because they know that the madam or the marchioness has been preparing for the wedding, and she's also excited to see Jeremy in the wedding and in marriage, of course, aside from the fact that she's going to be free. So this is a very bad news for all of them who are in the castle of Neuschwanstein. Alright, so by then we see that the servants are very concerned, but Julie at the end of the day decided that she would still go to the wedding. Alright, so there are flashbacks of how the relationship went, like the flashbacks of what happened after the Marquess died. So it's just a bits of pieces of like details, but there was that flashback there that is I think useful in understanding the hatred that Jeremy has for the Marchioness or for Shuli, because in that scene Jeremy said that a man just after just a few days after my father died. So it seems like that. So it seems to like paint the fact that Shuli is going out her way, meeting other men and taking them to the castle after the death of the Marquess, because the Marquess died early. Alright, so it makes you feel like, so this woman is like, girl, can't keep anything on your pants. Right, so but we actually I actually forgot. I felt guilty because I actually forgot the fact that she's just 16, almost 17 at the time, and maybe she's just shocked or surprised by the fact that this is how the socializing among the nobles go. Alright, so that's it. But at the end of the day, again, Shuli decided to like go to the wedding and not informing anybody. Alright, so she decided that she would go at dawn or before the sun rises, and she did. But the unfortunate thing happened. So unlike other isekai or other manhwas that were hit by the truck in the real world before they were taken into the fantasy world, Shuli got attacked. So the carriage was attacked, and she was like ambushed. Right? She was ambushed and killed in this attack. Okay, so we still don't know who, what, and who told the people to kill her. I mean, while I was reading it, it was actually like maybe it's Jeremy. Maybe it's him making sure that she will not come to the wedding. Like imagine the hate of the son to her stepmother to kind of plan to ambush her. So that's it. So I thought that way. But then in this part of the story is where it's going to get real, because after this one, after the ambush, she was taken back to the tier when the Marquess died. Alright, so as we go on with the story, we would realize that the Marquess is actually not the bad person. Or maybe it's some parts of him is a bad person because of course he he used human trafficking, bought someone, and of course, with no other choice. I mean, not forcing her to be her wife, but to be his wife, but of course, there's no choice, no other choice to be done. So almost forcing her to marry him. But we get to see that Marquez did not touch her, thankfully, right? That nothing went on in between them. It was just purely like more like servant relationship or an employee relationship, but a little bit higher than that because she was assigned with the Marchioness duty and taking care of the kids, just like that. But nothing so intimate between them. So thankfully, there's no assault happening or nothing like a minor being held captive or forced to marry a man that is double her age and doing some things with her. So thankfully, it's not that gruesome, right? So then we realized that everything started falling downhill when the Marquess died. Okay, so that's where everything, that's where she was taken back to on the day when the Marquess died. And that's when she realized that she was given another chance to set everything right. But unlike the other isekai, or unlike the other going back to the past female leads, actually we don't get to realize like what type of relationship is she going to change, because aside from the bad like negative impact that she has with the society because she was dubbed as the the witch of the Neuschwanstein castle, because she's like they seem to paint her like somebody who's after every man. They seem to paint her like that, but we don't get to see a confession from Shuli that admits that she does this one. Alright, so no confession about that. It's just that she confessed about not being so intimate with her kids or with the step kids. Okay, intimate in a way that she did not even bother to build a relationship between them. She was just very busy keeping the name of the Neuschwanstein, or like making it like still the powerful family next to the imperial family. So she was busy socializing that and building their influence. She neglected the kids and just allowed them to call her fake moms all the rest. Even after or even the day before she got attacked. All right, so that's her biggest regret, because with the scenario of Jeremy not wanting her to attend the wedding, it feels like the remorse is more of like the neglect in terms of the kids' relationship with her. Like she admitted that she was not able to build their trust, to gain their trust, to make her love her as a mother. So not in that way. Alright, so when she went back to the time or to the past, then we get to see the kids now. The kids are adorable. Okay, so I mean it's a story that's very close to my heart because when I was in college, or yes, when I was in college, I have these friends. I don't I don't refer to them as friends actually. They're my sons. They're my daughters. I call him sons and daughters like anak, and they call me or they refer to me as mom, mommy, or mama, like that. And I find it very fulfilling. Right? So, like, even if you're not blood related, even if you're not connected by blood, I mean, you did not bore them, you did not labor them, um, the connection is there, their trust is with you, and you seemingly, it feels like you want to wake up every morning wanting to see them and get acquainted with them and wanting to feel that they need you, Right, so that was my biggest motivation when I was still in school. Like I was more of like I need to go to school because somebody would look for me, and they always do. Like whenever they don't see me. Like I always get some text like, "Where are you? What are you doing now?" Like that. Not in a romantic way, of course. Nothing romantic, more like a relationship between families, and that's the biggest thing that I would never forget in college. Like I feel powerful when somebody needs me in a way that I'm able to help them. Okay, so I miss them. I do miss them. So when I was reading this manhwa, it feels like I was taken back to the time when I had to care for people because Shuli is like that. She has to care for the people that is not connected to her, but she did not do it half-assedly. Okay, she cared for the kids wholeheartedly, and it's just that it did not reach them to the point that they would give her the care back. Okay, so we get to see the kids. We have Jeremy, the eldest, and we have Elias as the second one, and the only one was the red hair. And we have the twins, that's Rachel and Leon. All right, so basically their house, the Nostrostan house, is like um, deemed as the lions or the house of lions. That's their crest. They have the lions, all right, and they're the lion children, the cubs. Okay, so the other people would say that they're the lions from the Neuschwanstein castle. So somewhat like very powerful if you're going to like um interpret it. So they're powerful. They're among the kings. Okay, so Jeremy is indifferent in a sense that he cannot express his own feelings to to her stepmother. Okay, he loved his father dearly. He loved his father dearly, his family. He cares for them very much. And when that mistake, I mean that mistake in the past, Shuli did that mistake. Like she was like contacting or maybe socializing with men in the society, and Jeremy interpreted it in a bad way. So he felt betrayed. And that's the cause of his indifference to Shuli. And luckily, Shuli was able to like get through that barrier in this second timeline. So she was able to connect with him in a little bit way during the funeral of his father. Okay, so during the funeral, like she was crying. Okay, but in the first timeline, Jeremy noticed that she was not crying in the funeral of his father. So for a child like Jeremy, it was like maybe she did not love my father. Okay, but luckily in the second timeline, Julie was crying when Jeremy entered the room. She was sincerely asking for guidance because a little part of her is still confused. Like, how was she able to go back in the past, right? So we are now talking the second timeline. So this then was seen by Jeremy, and then he realized that their stepmother actually cares for his father. Okay, so she was able to break that wall unconsciously. Okay, so that's when Jeremy started to like act different than the first timeline then. So in the second son, Ilyas, this kid is really troublesome because he likes to do troubles. Like he's more of the attention seeking child, but it's like in the second timeline it was revealed that while the Marchioness was in her deathbed, like she was sick, the previous Marchioness was like sick, it traumatized Elias to the point that he does not want to get too close with her mother now or her stepmother because someday soon she's going to leave. All right, that's what his fear is. So he's going to leave or she's going to leave. He is afraid that just like her mother who died because of a sickness, Shuli would actually still live. So as much as possible, he does not want to be close to her, expecting that one day she will be gone again, especially now that his father is gone. So he was traumatized by that, and Shuli did not notice that until in the second timeline. that he actually asked about Ilyas, because in the first timeline, she was neglectful of the kids, so she didn't actually care. But in the second timeline, she took time in asking the others about Ilyas. So that's when she realized that this kid is like afraid of being left behind. So that's when he she tried to connect with him. Now, the twins, we have Rachel and Leon. Okay, they're just kids, troublesome kids. And among the four kids, there were actually the ones that calls her mom, but in the first timeline, they addressed her as fake mom. Okay, in the second timeline, that actually changed. Of course, that's what the purpose is of going back, right? So Rachel and Leon are just troublesome kids. Like they like to make trouble, fight, always fight, and Elias always fights with them. Okay, that's just how it's but it's fun. Okay, I find these interactions fun and enjoying. Like they're very cute. While Shuli is like talking to a noble, then the others would fight in the background, and the people would often say that there's no other person in this world who's as strong as her because she's able to like manage his kids. All right, so Rachel was actually she's just a kid, and of course just like Ilyas, he they were actually also afraid of being left behind, right? So in a way they would like to connect to her, but they're very hesitant, and then everything just fall off. Like the relationship became intimate. Like Shuli was a step closer to her goal of being with her kids, or building her kids' relationship with her, when these two relatives of the Nosroshtein offered to like stay in their house. I forgot their name because there are dum-dums. Okay, so let's just call them dum-dum number one, dum-dum number two. So okay, so these two relatives actually offered to help her manage the kids because of course she's left alone. In the first timeline truly cut off all her relationships with the relatives because she thought that they were just after the fortune of the castle or the Nosroshtein family. In the second timeline, she was hesitant to do that again. Of course, because she found out that though it was not very, very damaging, but it still had an impact or a negative impact. So she decided to accept their help and not cut ties. But at the end of the day, she discovered, according to Jeremy, because Jeremy reported it to her, um, she discovered that these two are actually like harassing the kids. Okay, so that's the first time that her motherly instinct was like growing, because nobody touches the kids because they're my kids even though they're not from me, like that feeling. All right, so basically the first dum dum is the swords teacher of Ilyas, and she discovered that he is like teaching Ilyas in a very harsh way, that he whips him, right? Like corporal punishment, and he taunts him, right? Like tells him like, oh, you're so bad at this, that's why your mother's going to leave you. Like they are referring to Shuli, that they're going to like she's still going to leave you because you're bad at being a swordsman. Okay, and he lost his motivation to learn the sword, and because of that he is poorly performing, often cuts classes, and aside from that he is being punished every time, like whipped. Right? And the second dum dum is actually a woman, right? And she is teaching Rachel to debut in the society, but she's still a kid, and she is forcing or convincing Shuli to debut her earlier. Like I don't know why, but she is convincing her to debut earlier, and Shuli is very opposed to this idea because again, Rachel is still a kid. She's a very very little kid for at first, so no, she doesn't plan on exploiting her, but she got the feeling that something's wrong here until Jeremy confirmed that these two are abusing the kids. All right, so that's the first part where we get to see her rage. And I don't know, because maybe she realized that maybe the kids are also suffering like this in the past, but I just didn't know. But I didn't know because I actually like cared less, right? But this time that she is talking to Jeremy, I mean the brother, the eldest brother, it seems like it has opened a lot of doors for her to communicate with them. So Jeremy was the key. All right. So after knowing this one, she talked to them, but then they lied. All right, that's I'm not going to talk about the details as to how she talked. You go find out. Read this manhwa. I recommend that you read this. All right, so she talked with them, but then they lied to her face, and they insulted her, and the kids were actually just watching from the door behind. She didn't know that they were watching, but they were. So they're just like, for the first time, the kids felt like somebody's standing up for them, especially Ilyas, right? Because he is the troublemaker, and he believed that nobody would stand for him. Okay, but Shuli did for the first time in her life. She stood up for the kids, and it showed. I mean, the power that she has by words. She was threatening her, but in a smart way. That way, so like, and then they were insulted, and they resorted to like slapping her. Okay, and that's when the chaos happened. Alright, so when they slapped her, Rachel was the very first one to enter the room and like hugged her and said, "Nobody slaps my fake mom." Right, so that's where we get to see the connections now, or like the interactions now. Like she hugged her and like pushed her away and shouted, "Nobody slaps my fake mom. She's my fake mom." Alright, so the kid is like, they're very in chaos mode, and even Elias was very angry that he actually like thought of like hitting them like that. So Rachel was slapping the aunt, and it was total chaos. All right, and for the first time in her life, Shuli realized that she is a mother. Okay, like she accepted the responsibility, yes. In the first timeline, she took care of them well, she raised them well, she maintained the name of the family well, but it feels lacking on the first timeline. Now, in the second timeline, this is the part that she realized that the kids do love me. They really love me. It's just that they were not able to show it because I was not connecting to them. Alright? So that's how it happened. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to cut the summary at to this part, but anyway, that's how everything gets then like better than the first timeline, because after that it felt like the problems are being handled well already. They connected well. They did togethers. They did things together, and they were interacting with each other like a family. And from that point on, Rachel is not anymore calling her fake mom, which is a very big, very big plot twist in her character. Like she did not call her fake mom anymore. She just refers to her as mom. Okay, and then um after that one, so actually the scenes then are just continuing, but there's another scene in the second timeline that did not happen in the first timeline, which is Shuli meeting Nora in the alley, because Nora like saved her from her brother. Okay, so remember this part, because actually the family of Shuli is like just whole jackasses. His brother is her brother is like extorting money from her, and her mother is trying to convince her to marry somebody rich again. All right, so like their family is just not worth it. Okay, and I'm very happy that Shuli I mean Shuli got sold off. Is that the right term? Like Shuli found another family. Okay, so Nora saved her from her own brother because her brother is extorting money from her, and then this did not happen the first timeline. That's why she was actually puzzled. But anyway, so after that meeting, she later on, as the story progresses, we realize that the prince is actually in love with Shuli, and actually this led to another problem. Alright, but again, because Shuli is a smart girl and she's very dedicated, she's very determined to protect the family. In the second timeline, she did her best and they got out of the problem pretty nicely. Okay, and everybody was getting along well. Right, and then we get to see them and Nora interact. There's a little bit of romance, but in this manhwa, you're not going to like um get that jar you're not going to get the char of romance that are usually in the romance manhwa. There's the romance, but the best part of this manhwa is the family matters, like her interactions with the kids, how her kids love her, respects her, and even Nora actually, I mean the prince. Okay, on their first meeting, the prince bowed to her and said that it's nice to know the mother of lions, which is a very nice term for me. Like it invokes power and, of course, control. So he called her mother of lions. Okay, so I think that's the one of the best part of this manhwa. Like there's romance, but no, it does not affect anything at all until you get to read the last chapters. Alright, so I have repeatedly said that this manhwa is like a wine. So after you drink it, it feels like there's that lingering feeling of or lingering taste into your mouth, right? So I read the last chapters, and that's how I realized that, oh my god, I'm gonna miss reading this one. Alright, so when I was reading it, like from chapter 1 up to the chapter 50 almost, I was pretty chill. Like, I did not find the urge to like finish this one in one setting. But on the last chapter, when it was revealed that in the first timeline, Nora actually met Shuli, but in a different circumstance. Like not in the way that in the second timeline he was able to save her. In the first timeline they met when he saw Shuli in a banquet, because they do it. Is it banquet or banquet? I feel like my old teachers are going to slap me for mispronouncing words like this, but I think it's banquet, right? Banquet hall? Alright, anyway, so banquet. Okay, so he met Suli in a banquet terrace, so everybody was dancing in the dance floor, but Julie was in the terrace, and he was from the forest. I think he was just in the middle of running from something, and he saw that she was crying. All right, so she was crying. So for the first time that he saw her in the first timeline, he felt like they were similar to each other. Like she was acting strong and nice and graceful, but behind everybody's back, she was breaking apart. That's how he describes her when she saw her crying that night. So he went up on her and talked. I mean, they did not talk to each other, but when he saw her, he went up to her. I mean, not really climbed up the terrace, just in between the pillars of the terrace, and she saw him, and she came to him, hold her face, and to I'm going to insert picture here so that you won't be stressed in imagining the scenario. But like yes, so he said, she said to him that you're hurt. Okay, which is very impactful for him in the first timeline and even the second timeline, because the Nora kid, the kid Nora is actually acting tough all the time, is acting like a troublemaker all the time. His father does not believe him because they love the crown prince more than their own son. So the moment that Shuli actually said that you're hurt, he felt like he know her all her life. And that's how he fell in love with her, because he felt like she saw the true him, the real him, beneath this rough exterior. Okay, and then we were taken back to the mind of Nora, and we were shown that actually in the first timeline, Shuli was not the bad bitch that should be going back and correcting mistakes, because there's actually no mistakes in what she's done, except that she was just very sociable, and she was like hopping from man to man to negotiate or like socialize. Right, nothing wrong, and Nora sees that. I mean, he attended events where Shuli is there, but she was not actually aware. That's why that's why Nora is not part of her memories of the first timeline. Like in the second timeline, she only said that he looks familiar, he feels familiar, but not that does not actually recognize him. Okay, so maybe we know that he's familiar because they actually met, all right, but not acquainted. But Nora is just behind her, watching her and silently doing his best to excel in in swordmanship. So there's little details that's dropping every clues everywhere, but I'm not going much into them now. Like you got to read it to discover it yourself. All right, so I mean, yes, so that's it. So basically, Nora was in love with her in the first timeline. Even in the second timeline, he's still in love with her, but we get to see here that Shuli was not actually the bad bitch. Okay, so she was just not well adjusted to everything because of course, what's a 17 years old going to do with this society who judges everyone every now and then? Like, she's going to do with this one? Okay, so that's it, and they're still updating the epilogues, and I'm still going to read it. But overall, I find this manhwa very beautiful. It's like drinking wine. You get to realize that lingering feelings of longing and realizing that not everything is about love or romance, or it's more like you have to build connections, just like how Shuli built her connection with the kids, and just like how Nora actually um, gaining courage from seeing Suli do her best for the family. Alright, so there's a lot going on in this manhwa that makes it like memorable, something remarkable. Alright, something that is not easily forgotten, and every step of the way, there's no fail in making the art beautiful. If you coin the term like they're going to coin it in a movie, the cinematography is beautiful. All right, so the art is beautiful, beautiful as in it really fits the world that they're portraying. Okay, by the way, this is not like the isekai where the protagonist was from a modern taken to the novel or taken to another world, not like that. The isekai here um happened, or the isekai was tagged because she went back in time. All right, it's like reversing the past. Okay, so that's it. I hope you do read this manhwa. I'm going to put the title in this description box, or maybe I'm going to edit here the title so that you can research it and read it and tell me your thoughts about it if you're done reading it, okay? So I'll see you on my next sit down video. Thanks so much for watching. Hearts for you. Bye bye.